She said, "My friends think you're boring. You need to impress them." I replied, "Noted." Then I cashed out the boring tech stocks I owned and booked a one-way first-class ticket to Japan. Her friends' jaws dropped when they saw my farewell post. I, 29 male, am sitting in Narita Airport right now, waiting for my connection to Osaka, and figured I'd share this while it's still fresh. 3 weeks ago, my girlfriend Tessa, 27, ambushed me with what she called an intervention. We'd been together for about 18 months, living together for 6. I work in cybersecurity, not the flashy movie hacker type, just the guy who makes sure your banking app doesn't leak your data. Yeah, boring stuff, right? So I'm coming home from work, exhausted after dealing with a ransomware incident all day, and Tessa's sitting on the couch with this serious expression. "We need to talk about us," she says. My stomach drops. Those words never lead anywhere good. "What about us?" I ask, sitting down. "My friends think you're boring, Nolan. Like, really boring. And honestly, they're not wrong." I just stared at her. "Okay? That's it? Just okay?" She looked frustrated. "Don't you care what they think?" "Not particularly." "Well, you should. These are important people in my life. Jenna's boyfriend took everyone parasailing last month. Brit's guy threw that amazing rooftop party. And you? You just work and play with your computer." "I also pay 70% of our rent," I said quietly. "It's not about money," she snapped. "It's about effort. You need to impress them. Show them you're not just some boring tech nerd." I sat there for a minute, processing. "So what exactly do you want me to do?" "I don't know. Plan something exciting. Take us somewhere cool. Buy a sports car. Just stop being so predictable and bland." "Noted," I said, and went to make dinner. She seemed satisfied that she'd gotten through to me. Even kissed me on the cheek and said, "I knew you'd understand." What Tessa didn't know, what she'd never bothered to learn despite living with me, was that my boring job paid extremely well, and my playing with computers included managing a portfolio of tech stocks I'd been accumulating since college. Started with $5 from a summer job, kept adding to it, made some lucky calls on companies before they exploded. Never talked about it because, well, money talk is boring, right? That night, while she was asleep, I did some math. My portfolio was worth about $340. Not retirement money, but definitely complete life change money. The next morning, I called in sick and spent the day making plans. Update 1. The week after the intervention was interesting. Tessa kept dropping hints about things her friends' boyfriends did. Tegan surprised Brit with a weekend in Miami. Jenna says Marcus is taking cooking classes to be more interesting. I just nodded and said variations of, "That's nice." Meanwhile, I was busy. Quietly sold off my entire portfolio, took a bit of a hit for liquidating everything at once, but still walked away with about 315 CALs after taxes. Gave notice at my job. They were sad to see me go but understood. Burnout is real in cybersecurity. Started learning basic Japanese through an app. Tessa noticed I was on my phone more, but assumed I was finally making an effort. She even bragged to her friends that I was planning something big. She was right, just not in the way she thought. The funniest part was when her friend Jenna came over for wine night. These wine nights were basically just them trash-talking everyone not present. I was in the bedroom, supposedly working, but could hear everything. "So Nolan's finally stepping up?" Jenna asked. "I think so. He's been really secretive lately. I bet he's planning something amazing for my birthday next month." "About time. No offense, but he's like watching paint dry." "I know, right? But he's reliable, pays most of the bills, never forgets anniversaries. Just wish he was more exciting." "Girl, you can't have everything. Boring guys with good jobs are husband material. You just need to train them right." They laughed. I booked my flights that night. Update 2. 2 weeks after the intervention, everything was in place. One-way first-class ticket to Tokyo. Hey, if you're changing your life, might as well do it comfortably. Visa sorted. Apartment lease ending conveniently next month. I'd handle that remotely. Job officially done in 1 week. I decided to break the news on a Thursday evening. Tessa had invited her whole crew over for dinner on Saturday. Jenna, Brit, Tegan, Marcus, and few others. Perfect timing. "Hey, I've got news," I said over dinner. "Oh my God, finally." She practically bounced in her seat. "Is it about Saturday? Tell me." "Sort of. I'm moving to Japan," she laughed. "For Saturday?" That's random but okay. Japanese restaurant could be cool. No, permanently. Well, indefinitely. I leave Monday. The silence was deafening. Her fork literally stopped halfway to her mouth. What? You said I was boring and needed to make changes. So I am. I've always wanted to live abroad, learn a new language, experience different cultures. Very not boring, right? This is a joke. Nope, already have an apartment lined up in Osaka. Going to travel around Asia, maybe teach English for a while, take photography classes, really shake things up. You can't just leave. What about us? What about your job? I quit. And us? Well, you made it pretty clear I'm not impressive enough for your life. This seems like a good solution for everyone. She went from confused to angry to panicked in about 30 seconds. Nolan, that's not what I meant. I just wanted you to try harder. I am trying, just not in the direction you expected. This is insane. You can't afford this. Your job. Remember those boring tech stocks I was always checking? Turns out they weren't so boring. Made enough to live comfortably for a few years if I'm careful. Her face went pale. How much? Enough. And you never told me? You never asked. Too boring, remember? Update 3. That Saturday dinner was one for the books. Tessa spent Friday alternating between crying, yelling, and love-bombing me. We can work this out. You're being ridiculous. I didn't know you had money. Please don't leave. I just kept packing. She still held the dinner, probably hoping peer pressure would change my mind. I made my signature lasagna, apparently too boring usually, but suddenly she loved my cooking. Everyone showed up, and Tessa plastered on a fake smile. Halfway through dinner, Britt asked, "So Tessa says you have big news, Nolan?" "Yeah, I'm moving to Japan on Monday." Dead silence. Keegan literally had pasta falling off his fork. "Like, for work?" Marcus asked. "Nope, just for me. Selling everything, starting fresh. Already got a place in Osaka." Jenna laughed nervously. "That's, wow, how long?" "No return ticket." That's when Tessa lost it. "Tell them why. Tell them what you're doing to me." "I'm not doing anything to you. I'm doing something for me. He's abandoning me because you all said he was boring." She was crying now, mascara running. Britt looked uncomfortable. "We didn't mean. You literally called him watching paint dry." Tessa screamed at Jenna. The table erupted. Jenna defending herself, Britt trying to calm everyone, the boyfriends looking like they wanted to be anywhere else. I just kept eating my lasagna. Finally, Keegan asked, "Dude, how can you afford this? Invested in tech stocks since college, did pretty well." "How well?" "Well enough to not work for a few years if I live modestly." Marcus whistled. "And you're just leaving everything?" "Not everything. Just everything here." Jenna, trying to recover, said, "This seems really impulsive." I pulled out my phone and showed them my Instagram draft. A photo of my first-class ticket with the caption, "They said I was boring, so I'm gonna be boring in Tokyo, Kyoto, Bangkok, Seoul, Singapore, one-way ticket purchased. Adventure starts Monday." "You're doing this for Instagram?" Britt asked, incredulous. "No, I'm doing this for me. The Instagram post is just a bonus." Update 4. The next 36 hours were absolutely insane. After everyone left, dinner ended with Tessa sobbing and her friends awkwardly hugging her while shooting me death glares. Things went nuclear. First, Tessa tried the guilt approach. Sunday morning, she crawled into bed and started crying about how sorry she was, how she didn't mean it, how her friends were wrong. When that didn't work, she switched to anger. Started throwing my clothes out of the suitcase while screaming that I was a pathetic man-child running away. Then came the entitlement. "If you're leaving, you need to pay rent for the next 3 months so I can find a roommate. The lease ends in 5 weeks. I already paid this month." "That's not enough. You're screwing me over." "You work full-time, Tessa. You make decent money. Not enough for this place alone. Then move." She actually called her mom and put her on speaker. Her mom started lecturing me about responsibility and manning up and how real men don't run from problems. I just kept packing. The nuclear option came Sunday afternoon. Tessa posted on Facebook that I was having a mental breakdown and abandoning her after she tried to help improve our relationship. Tagged my family and coworkers. Within an hour, my phone was blowing up. My mom called panicking. My sister texted asking if I was okay. Former colleagues messaging about my breakdown. So I posted my response. The first-class ticket photo, along with not having a breakdown, having a breakthrough. Sometimes when someone tells you you're not enough, The best response is to realize they're right. You're not enough for them, and they're not enough for you. Starting a new chapter. Boring has never felt so exciting. Then I added screenshots of my apartment confirmation in Osaka, my Japanese language app showing 14 days of practice, and the receipt for my photography course enrollment in Tokyo. The comments were beautiful. My sister wrote, "Yes! Finally living for yourself. My best friend from college, dude's been dreaming about this since sophomore year. Get it." But the best part was when Tessa's friends started damage control. Jenna commented, "This is really extreme, don't you think?" Someone I didn't even know replied, "Not as extreme as calling your friend's boyfriend boring to his face, lol." The thread blew up. People from my work were congratulating me on escaping the grind. Old friends were asking for travel tips, and Tessa's friends were getting roasted in the comments for being judgmental. Update 5 Sunday night, the extinction burst hit. But it wasn't from Tessa, it was from her mom, Darlene. Darlene showed up at our apartment around 8 p.m. and she was pissed. Not at Tessa, at me. "You selfish little boy." She stormed in without invitation. "How dare you humiliate my daughter like this?" "I haven't humiliated anyone. You're airing your dirty laundry on social media." "Tessa did that first," I just responded. Then came the kicker. "You owe her. She gave you the best years of her life." 18 months is hardly. She could have been with someone better, someone more successful, but she chose you. Tessa was standing behind her mom, smirking through her fake tears. That's when I realized this wasn't about heartbreak. It was about image and control. "You're right," I said. "She could have, and now she can. I'm leaving tomorrow. Problem solved." Not without compensating her. For what? Emotional damages, time wasted, her reputation. I actually laughed. "Are you seriously trying to invoice me for a breakup?" "She decorated this apartment. She made your boring life tolerable. She paid 30% of the rent and complained about my boring job while benefiting from it. We're done here." Darlene tried to physically block me from my suitcase. "You're not going anywhere until this is resolved." That's when I called building security. Watching them escort Darlene out while she screamed about lawyers and lawsuits was oddly satisfying. Tessa just stood there, probably realizing her nuclear option had failed. "This didn't have to be like this," she said quietly. "You're right. All you had to do was not call me boring to my face and demand I perform for your friend's approval. I was trying to help you. No, you were trying to change me into someone your friends would approve of. There's a difference." Final update from Osaka. I'm writing this from my tiny apartment in Osaka. It's been 2 weeks since I left, and honestly, best decision I ever made. The flight was surreal. First class on a 14-hour flight when you've been called boring for over a year. Chef's kiss. Posted a photo from the lounge with champagne and the caption, "Boring tastes pretty good at 30,000 feet. It got over 200 likes, which for my usually dead Instagram was insane. The fallout continued even after I left. Tessa tried one last power play, claimed I'd stolen shared property. I hadn't taken anything that wasn't mine. Then claimed I owed her for establishing the home we shared. Her mom actually did contact a lawyer, who basically told them they had no case and to stop wasting his time. But here's the part that made everything worth it. Jenna's boyfriend Tegan? He reached out to me on Instagram. Turns out, he's been thinking about making his own change. Said seeing me actually do it instead of just talking about it was inspiring. We've been chatting about travel and life choices. Funny how the boring guy became the inspiration. Britt and Marcus broke up. According to mutual friends, she kept comparing him to me after I left, saying he needed to be more ambitious like Nolan. The dude who threw rooftop parties wasn't exciting enough anymore, apparently. Tessa? Last I heard through the grapevine, my sister still has mutual friends with her. She's had to move to a studio apartment and is dating some finance guy who drives a leased BMW. Apparently, he's exactly what she was looking for, which probably means he performs adequately for her friend group. As for me, I'm taking Japanese classes in the morning, photography in the afternoon. Made friends with other expats and locals. Went to a sumo match last week, eating incredible ramen from tiny shops that don't even have signs. My photography instructor said I have a good eye, thinking about starting a travel blog but not sure. Might be too boring. The money situation is solid. Living modestly here costs way less than splitting rent in an expensive apartment back home. I figure I have at least 2 years before I need to think about working again, longer if I pick up some English teaching or freelance security consulting. Sometimes I think about that dinner where Tessa told me I was boring, how her friends nodded along, judging my entire existence as insufficient. They wanted me to buy things, plan parties, perform excitement for their validation. Instead, I bought a ticket to a completely different life. Turns out, being boring in Japan is pretty exciting. Who knew? Oh, and Tessa unblocked me last week just to send one message. I hope you're happy ruining what we had. I replied, I am actually. Arigato gozaimasu. Then I blocked her. Life's too short to be someone else's entertainment. If that makes me boring, well, teichi de kekko desu. Boring is fine with me. Edit. Since some people are asking, yes, I'm still in Japan. No, I don't regret it. And yes, my Japanese is still terrible but getting better every day. The photography course led to some freelance work shooting for local businesses. Turns out being a boring tech guy who takes good photos is actually pretty marketable here. Still boring, just profitable boring.